All right, we should be live. My sound is good. YouTube is on. Let's double check. YouTube is live. Instagram is now live. Here we go. Welcome to Medication Live. It's October 30th. It's Thursday, and it's our morning session. I'll be back again later tonight. But for now, here we are.
And I'm so proud, and most of all, I'm so grateful to each and every person, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, for coming out and honoring one of the most important parts of Charlie's legacy, because we're going to have a discussion tonight, and that's what Charlie would want us to do.
And away we go.
I want to get to questions, and I want to leave plenty of time for questions, but I want to make just a couple of final points about Charlie's legacy in politics. The most important thing about Charlie is that he was a great...
Good morning, Aquariums. What's up, everybody? If you're on Instagram and you want to get involved with the chat, feel free to come over to YouTube. Got a good active chat on YouTube. And I want to really get to the questions that he's going to take. So here we go.
Husband and a great father. Erica told me probably 12 hours after Charlie had been pronounced dead, she was just absolutely devastated. She was unable, you know, if you've ever known anybody who's grieving, sometimes it's unable, they're unable to even hold a single thought for more than a few seconds. And what Erica told me, and I'm going to get a little emotional, is that she said that Charlie never yelled at her, he never cussed at her, and that to me is a great legacy to leave as a husband and a father, for your wife to be able to say that my husband was always good to me and Charlie was a good man. But he also had the legacy of believing in political debate, and he was the most effective person in politics that I have ever seen. And by the way, that's not because Charlie always agreed with me and the president's policies. I remember one time in particular where Charlie Kirk called me, and guys, he was mad. It was one, you know, I wouldn't say the last conversation that I had with him, but it was in the last few months of his life. And he called me and he said, JD, I'm really worried. I'm really worried that what's going on in the Middle East right now is going to lead the United States into a protracted military conflict. I've never told anybody that Charlie was really worried about that in the final months of his life. Now, here's the thing. Charlie was so effective, and he was so trusted by both me and the President of the United States, that when Charlie made that phone call, I didn't say, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. I listened to him. And I really believe that one of the reasons why the President of the United States knocked out the Iranian nuclear facilities, but never got the United States into a protracted military conflict and never lost a single American in a Middle Eastern conflict, is because we had the wisdom and the good sense to recognize that the American people are done with American troops dying in unnecessary foreign conflicts. But Charlie Kirk reminded me of that. Charlie Kirk. So that was a great moment for our country. It was a great moment for my friendship with Charlie Kirk, because friendship is not just about telling everybody what they want to hear. It's not just about agreeing with everybody all the time. It's about having the trust in another human being that you can tell them they're wrong and actually encourage them to change their mind. Or in that case, not necessarily even tell us that we were wrong, but make sure that we were thinking about all the options. And of course, under the president's leadership, we were doing exactly that. But Charlie was so good at that. And I think that's one of the ways in which I want all of you to honor your legacy. I see you.
This was yesterday, bro. Or not even less than, I think it was, yeah,
care
yesterday.
About our great nation, or you wouldn't be.
And I really want to get, he's about to go to take questions, so I really want to get to his questions. See what he, I heard there was really good questions.
Here. A lot of you will go on to become future leaders in business or in politics. A lot of you will run campaigns. A lot of you will work on campaigns. A lot of you will be future leaders. There might even be a lowly future vice president of the United States in this very room. But here's the thing that I want all of you to remember. Charlie wasn't effective just because he had opinions. A lot of people have opinions. Charlie was effective because he was courageous, because he worked very hard, and because he made his vision a reality. And so if you care about this country, as I know all of you do, don't just complain about social media. Get up and get involved in a campaign.
Yep.
If you want a better policy outcome, even from an administration that you voted for, then
Yep.
get out and get involved and making your voice heard. If you care about this country, love it enough to get involved in the process and how we govern it. That is the only way we are going to save the United States of America, and that is perhaps the greatest contribution that you can make to Charlie Kirk's legacy is getting involved in saving this country. I'm in the fight, and I know every single one of you are with me. God bless you, and thank you for having me.
Love that, bro. Aquarium says, I'm sweaty and covered in chems and sealant. I took transracial, currently have black. I'm currently half black. Gotcha. What's up, beautiful Bill? Here we go. He's going to take questions now. And I'm going to take live callers if someone wants to call in.
Thank you. But like, hey.
What's up, State Line? Good morning, bro.
Please, I appreciate that, but we're not even halfway done. So here's I don't know what you're saying, but it sounds awesome. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to do next is actually take some questions. And I remember one of my favorite things about Charlie, not that there aren't going to be some questioners who agree with me, but if you disagree with me, I would ask that you come to the front of the line, because we want to talk to people we agree with. We also want to hear from people we disagree with. It is hard for me to see because the spotlights are very bright, but whoever's in line, go ahead and ask your question. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I can see you. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Lucy.
And I'm Ellie, and we're with the Turning Point chapter for this question.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Can you tell us how your faith helps you in your role as Vice President?
Well, I appreciate that. That is a very good question. And this is another way in which Charlie has affected my life. I would say that I grew up, again, in a generation where even if people had very deep personal faith, they didn't talk about their faith a whole lot. And I grew up in a country where you just didn't hear political leaders talk about their faith. But the reason why I try to be the best husband I can be, the best father I can be, the reason why I care so much about all the issues that we're going to talk about is because I believe that I've been placed in this position for a brief period of time to do the most amount of good for God and for the country that I love so much. And that's the most important way that my faith influences me. Is we all get a limited opportunity to make a difference. And if you believe as we believe, you believe that God, you believe that Jesus Christ has a plan. And sometimes we don't understand that plan. By the way, one way I don't understand that plan is why my friend lost his life 6 weeks ago. Sometimes I get pissed off about that. But what I remind myself is that there is a deeper rhythm, that Jesus Christ is the author of the fate of human history, and we are charged to do everything that we can to effectuate that vision, to make our country a more virtuous place, a more prosperous place where people can raise a family and not be persecuted for their faith, but teach their children their faith. That recognition that all of us have a duty. And I have two very important duties as Vice President of the United States, to the American people and to God, and that's the most important influence my faith has on me. Thank you.
I understand your view on illegal immigration is it should be a top priority, strengthening our southern borders and fighting the massive drug trafficking that's taking place while securing jobs for the working class Americans.
Oh, Sorry, guys, I was muted. I was saying, yeah, feel free to call in and talk about any of these subjects that you just mentioned, or you can have me pick a subject, or if you just want to get on and shoot the shit, yeah, you're good. Let me know.
So deporting every single person who's invaded our country illegally, which I 100% agree on. My question to you is, what is your view on legal immigration? Personally, I have a girlfriend who's studying in America off a visa. Our hope is eventually getting a green card. So what is your view on legal immigration? Should we reduce it? Also, what is your plan for a merit-based system?
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate the question. And look, my honest view is that right now, America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to a lot of bad immigration policy, right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality. Now look,
Government corruption is not a bad topic. If he has, some good points to make on that, that'd be great.
legal immigration is complicated because
Honestly, any of these, the trafficking crisis, societal collapse, and what follows, yeah, these are all
we let
good.
in about 1 million legal immigrants into the United States of America every single year. And I think the evidence is pretty clear that a lot of those immigrants are actually undercutting the wages of American workers. It's one of the reasons why the President of the United States and a lot of us in the administration have encouraged H-1B reform, because if you look at the H-1B visa, what it's supposed to be is that you have a super genius who's studying at an American university, who's working at a great company. You want that super genius to stay in the United States of America and not go somewhere else. What it's actually used to do is hire an accountant at a 50% discount to an American citizen. I don't think that we should be hiring accountants from foreign countries when we've got accountants right here in the United States that would love to work for a good wage.
I agree, bro. It's getting used and abused, bro, for every any type of person that wants to cross the border.
Now, you asked about, I think, your girlfriend, you said, and I obviously don't know the full details about your situation, but my view is, look, there are people who want to come to the United States of America, and some of them, I'm sure, can...
Oh, let's hear what Chelsea says. Chelsea says, let's go back here. Chelsea says, there are a few insufferable anti-Trump people who have a similar show and invite call-ins. We should get you matched up. I would love to see a debate and those chats debate. That would be fun. I'd be down. I tried doing it, but I didn't. There was someone that didn't respond. I think they were speaking more to like a different platform. They were more on live on TikTok or some other platform, and they weren't getting my messages on YouTube.
Enrich the United States of America by coming here, but we have got to get our overall numbers way, way down. Too many people have come into the United States of America. I am married to the daughter of immigrants who came to the United States in the 1980s. I do believe that many immigrants do in fact enrich the United States of America, but
100% immigrants help and enrich the United States of America, depending on the immigrants and depending on what their goals are. And so I think it's a great thing. Immigrants are fantastic. Again, I'm a product of immigrants. My parents came here, and when Islam was destroying the country they came from, and they love America. They are American to the bone. They are 100% assimilated, and we all love America. And they work their asses off from working in hotel rooms around Disneyland, cleaning up the rooms to eventually having their own businesses. And they did a lot. So looks like we got Hee back here in the chat. So what's up, Hee? I know we disagree on a lot, but it's good to have you either way.
Here's the problem. We don't even know how many illegal aliens we have. We don't even know. The best guess is probably 25, 30 million people. I've heard estimates as high as 50 million. When something like that happens, you've got to allow your own society to cohere a little bit, to build a sense of common identity, for all the newcomers to assimilate, the ones who are going to stay, to assimilate into American culture. Until you do that, you've got to be careful about any additional immigration, in my view.
I agree. Assimilation is huge. He asked me, do you have a job or is this all you do? I've worked for other people my entire life. And while I worked for other people during the day, I worked on creating businesses after hours from when I got off at 6 or 7 p.m. all the way till 2, 3 in the morning every night. I failed miserably a lot in the beginning, but eventually I started winning. I started finally making income from the businesses I created after hours. And eventually those businesses made enough to cover my day job. And now I successfully have 3 businesses that I operate, and they allow me to have time back so that I can do things that I really love, which is this. If this happens to make me money to outshine, overshadow my businesses, wow, can you believe how amazing that would be? That would be incredible. Imagine getting paid for what you love doing. I would love that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, I have a question about Israel and Trump's policy towards it. Do you think it's
Sanaz says 4. What's 4?
a conflict of interest
Is that how many businesses I have? I know I have 3 businesses. Depending on how you count it, they're 5. She says 4. She knows me.
for Miriam Adelson, an Israeli donor, to give millions of dollars
Yeah, that's Miss Medication. Sanaz is in the chat. Here she
to his
goes.
campaign, and then Trump have pro-Israeli policies?
Well,
Let's hear
if you're
this
asking, do I
question
think the
again,
President of the
guys.
United States
For Miriam Adelson,
translate into American culture. Until you do that, you've got to be careful about any additional immigration, in my view.
Let's hear this question.
hello, I have a question about Israel and Trump's policy towards it. Do you think it's a conflict of interest for Miriam Adelson, an Israeli donor, to give millions of dollars to his campaign, and then Trump have pro-Israeli policies?
Well, if you're asking, do I think the President of the United States has a conflict of interest? No, I do not, because I know how the President of the United States makes his decisions, and I see it behind the scenes. Now, as the President himself has said, Miriam Adelson, who, by the way, I know, and I have a very good relationship with her, she is very clear about the fact. She doesn't hide the fact that she really loves Israel, and that is part of what motivates her political giving. That is a reality. At the same time, the President of the United States is America first through and through. And let me give you just a couple of examples of this.
That's a great question, dude. Holy cow. That was a good one. Aquariums, maybe I think when we get married next year, bro, we'll start with the kids. Jennifer Tapia, thank you. W. Jennifer, she says, I'm always working when you are on. Glad I can catch you.
Number one,
Good to have you.
we have heard from some pro-Israel voices, some people who really love the state of Israel, that they don't want us to have a relationship with certain Middle Eastern countries. Well, the president, his attitude is, we need to build relationships with any country where we have shared interests, and he's going to do it if it's in the interest of the American people, and he's done exactly that. Number two, there were people.
Great question, man. I'd love to know that too.
When I remember this criticism
What's up, Jen?
of the President of the United States, I just raised it in the context of a conversation that I had with Charlie. I remember when people said that the President of the United States was going to get us into a multi-100,000 troop regime change war for Israel. This was 4 months ago. This was 6 months ago. Now, the people who accused the President of the United States of wanting to get us into a regime change war for Israel, I wonder if they stepped back and said, you know what, we were wrong about that, because the President of the United States did not want to get us into a regime change war for any other country. He wanted to knock out a nuclear facility and get everybody back home, and that's exactly what he did. So I understand there's some frustrations out there, but I think the President of the United States, more than any president of my lifetime, is willing to stand up to anybody if he thinks it puts the interests of the American people first. Thank you.
Aquariums brings up a good point. Aquarium says Israel is keeping the Islamists at bay, a necessary evil.
Hello, Vice President Vance.
How you doing?
Good. I have a question. Do you condone large private corporations such as Palantir hoarding data caches on U.S. citizens?
No, I don't condone it. And here's the thing. So I get asked about Palantir a lot because there's this internet meme out there that somehow I am super in bed with Palantir. And here's the thing that I'd say about this. Palantir is a private company. They sometimes do a useful service, and sometimes they're going to do things that we don't like. You should be demanding that your representatives do two things when it comes to Palantir or when it comes to any other technology company. Number one, protecting your data. What's going on with artificial intelligence
You still missed the apostrophe T, bro.
is going to mean that there are massive inducements to steal your data, to harvest it, and to use it against you to sell digital advertisements. That is not what I believe in, and I've been fighting against it, whether it's Palantir or any other technology company, literally before I ran for office. When I ran for office, I was criticized by Republicans in my Republican Senate primary because I was talking then about Google and Facebook harvesting our data. It's unacceptable. I don't care who does it. I don't want them to do it. Number two, and this is also very important, what's going on with artificial intelligence, we got to be worried about large-scale surveillance, okay? Everything, you asked about Palantir. Do you know that every time you make a credit card transaction, the credit card companies are collecting data on how you spend your money? Do you know that every time you linger over a link
Solid, bro. What kind of computer did you get?
on the internet for more than a half second, the search engines are collecting data on you so that they can sell you advertisements? One of the biggest questions for American policy over the next 10 years is how to ensure that you are a sovereign citizen. And you cannot be a sovereign citizen if any private corporation or any government can steal something from you that belongs to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dude, he just laid it out and he was clear with his answers. That's what I love, dude, about JD Vance. I like that about Trump. I like that about a lot of people on the right, dude. They give clear answers to these types of questions. I love that. You can pull this clip up a year from now and say, hey, bro, look what you said. You said clearly this is what you said, and hold people accountable.
Vice President J.D. Vance, good evening.
Thank
My
you.
question is, the Republican Party, they stand for the right to bear arms. A lot of things the Founding Fathers really made a priority.
Sure.
And I feel as if requiring Christianity in public schools goes against the Founding Fathers' wish of freedom of religion. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess, who is saying that we require Christianity in public schools?
Just from what I've seen on the media and the news, it seems like the Trump administration had wanted to make praying in schools and Christian values incorporated.
Well, look, I think Christian values are a good thing, and I'll talk to you about why I think that's a good thing, but that's separate from forcing people to pray, which I don't think that anybody, certainly no Christian that I know, would ever support or ever endorse. And let me just say something generally about all the people. I see there's a big line, and I hope I can get to everybody's question. I remember when I was a sophomore in high school, I went to an event at my church, which was a book signing with Oliver North and Sean Hannity, the Fox News host. And this was back before, this was, I guess, 25 years ago. And so neither of these guys was maybe as big as they are today. And I remember standing in line, and I'm about to say hello to Oliver North and Sean Hannity. And I remember thinking to myself, I was so nervous. All I need to do is shake their hand, give them a firm handshake, and tell them my name. That's what I'm thinking. Firm handshake, tell them my name. Firm handshake, tell them my name. And I get to the front of the line, and Sean Hannity looks at me, and he says, how are you doing? And I totally panic, and I go, JD. Because I had rehearsed shaking and saying my name. My point is, I admire your guys' courage, and please don't be nervous. If you need to work through a question, think about it, speak it. We're all here to have a nice conversation, and we're all supportive of it. Here's the thing when you talk about forcing, I'm going to answer your question, forcing Christianity, forcing people to pray. There's a liberal idea out there that I think is wrong, and that's that liberalism is the source of freedom of religion. And actually, if you go back to the original founding documents of the United States of America, if you go back to the Anglo legal tradition, well before there was ever a United States of America, what you find is that freedom of religion is actually a Christian concept. And the reason it's a Christian concept is very simple. Because Christianity, Imago Dei, the idea that we are all made in the image our Creator means that we must respect the free will of every single person. Now, part of that is you have a conversation with people. Having free will doesn't mean that you're not allowed to encourage somebody, that you're not allowed to talk to somebody about your faith, that you're not allowed to talk about certain values in school. When our founders talked about freedom of religion, they didn't mean you weren't allowed to say a Christian prayer in a public school or that you weren't allowed to talk about Jesus Christ in a public forum. They just meant that nobody could force you to profess the Christian faith. That had to come from your own free will. And I believe that, and I think every Christian who I've ever spoken to believes that the source is the Christian, the source of your faith, the Christian understanding must be your own free will. But here's the thing about Christian values. There are a lot of Christian values out there that I think that we've just sort of assumed and we've in fact taken for granted. Christian values are the idea that you should respect every single person as an individual, whatever the color of their skin, created in the image of God. That's a Christian concept. And in fact, it was a Christian empire, Great Britain, that abolished slavery to begin with. The idea that we should eliminate child sacrifice. What did the Christian settlers find when they came to the New World? They found a lot of civilizations that were murdering babies in weird religious rituals. It was Christianity that said we don't kill children just because they're somehow inconvenient to people. A lot of the things, human rights, the very idea that human beings have rights are...
Bill in the chat says, big, beautiful brows. Yeah, Trump has the big, beautiful bill. I got the big, beautiful brows, bro.
are a Christian concept. And so I'd ask you, my assumption based on the question.
And they're gnarly, bro. If I turn to the side, you'll see they pop out. You almost have to duck when I walk around.
Question is that you're skeptical of Christianity, or at least of certain public professions of Christianity. One of my favorite Bible verses is, by your fruits ye shall know them. And I think that the fruits of the Christian faith are the most moral, the most just, and the most prosperous civilization in history. I make no apologies for believing that Christianity is the pathway to God. I make no apologies for thinking that Christian values are an important foundation of this country, but I'm not going to force you to believe in anything, because that's not what God wants, and that's not what I want either.
So,
go ahead.
For the school system, do you agree that there should be Christian implementation, or do you think that school system should be neutral and be focused on science, literature, reading, writing?
Man, I didn't know that. I didn't know you have a theology, or you have theology degrees. Interesting. So you've read up on a lot of religions.
Arithmetic.
Well, I reject the idea that anything is purely neutral, okay?
Michael in the chat says, I would have those beautiful brows too if I didn't trim them like every 4 days. Well, W Michael, bro, for the brows. But I'll tell you what, Miss Medication will not let anyone touch my brows. She likes them long and strong. Like, these bad boys literally will stick out all the way out, bro. Like, they're crazy, bro.
There are, for example, let's take a basic scientific fact.
So then, men, if you have degrees in theologies and you learn about Christianity and other religions, I'm assuming, we should pick your brain on some stuff, get you on the line, bro. Let's talk.
And this is a little spicy. I'm not trying to make this too controversial, but take the basic scientific fact of, can you take a pill to change your biological gender? Okay? Now, that's something that 15 years ago, quite literally, every single scientist in the Western world would have said, absolutely not, that's crazy, and now people will. I think the premise of your question, I don't totally share it, because I don't think perfect neutrality is possible. What is it? You talk about history. Was Christopher Columbus a great explorer, or was he a guy who committed genocide against the native populations? These debates, I'm happy to have them, but I reject the idea that there are truly neutral debates. Anybody who's telling you their view is neutral likely has an agenda to sell you, and I'm at least honest about the fact that I think the Christian foundation of this country is a good thing. Next.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe I can ask you stuff and you can just answer in chat. Either way, no pressure.
And for the pill you're talking about, what do you mean specifically? Are you talking about testosterone, estrogen?
Yeah, I'm talking about hormone replacement therapy. That's what I'm talking about. Just to be respectful, let's keep it going.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Hello, Mr. Vice President. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to talk here today. I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this, but I don't think that's my point to discuss here. What I want to ask is,
okay.
you are married to a woman who is not Christian. In her Wikipedia, I mean, I just looked it up. I wanted to know what her faith was. I didn't know this before. But she still calls herself Hindu. You are raising three kids in interracial, cultural, racial, religious household. How are you maintaining, or how are you teaching your kids not to keep your religion ahead of their mother's religion? Or how are you teaching them that your kind, they're that kind who got here just few years or few decades ago is different or is better than your mom's kind who got here just a generation before? How are you balancing that? And when you talk about too many immigrants here, when did you guys decide that number? Why did you sell us a dream? You made us spend our youth, our wealth in this country and gave us a dream. You don't owe us anything. We have worked hard for it. Then how can you, as a vice president, stand there and say that we have too many of them now and we are going to take them out to people who are here rightfully so by paying the money that you guys asked us? You gave us the path, and now how can you stop it and tell us we don't belong here anymore? And one more thing, I'm sorry, one more thing.
Sure.
Do you have to
There's
be...
a lot there. I don't know if I'm going to remember all this, but I will try.
I'm sorry. I had to say all of this, and please
Sounds more like a statement than a question, but hopefully he'll get around to answering this, and I want to hear it.
take it with due... I mean, I'm saying all of
course.
this with due
No, go ahead.
respect. I
Please.
have no
Thank you.
intention of causing a scene here or anything, but...
We're not close to causing a scene,
Yeah.
don't worry.
But we talked about Christianity, all of this. I'm not even Christian, and I'm here standing to show support. Why are we making Christianity one of the major things that you have to have in common to be one of you guys, to show that I love America just as much as you do? Why is that still a question? Why do I have to be a Christian?
Okay, so there was a lot there, and I'm going to try to respond to as much of it as I can. So on the question of immigration, so first of all, I can believe that we should have lower immigration levels, but if the United States passed a law and made a promise to somebody, the United States, of course, has to honor that promise. Nobody's talking about that. I'm talking about people who came in violation of the laws of the United States of America, and I'm talking about in the future reducing the number of people. Sorry, what?
May I continue on that? Because when you just said you are not stopping with the people who came here legally, right? But you are pushing out policies that hurt us. And these policies are not even solving the problems. These
What
policies
policies?
are just creating...
What are you talking about? Is this just a feeling that she has? Because what kind of policies are hurting people that are already legal immigrants?
No, ma'am. Okay, so again, I'm gonna finish answering the question, and then if I've answered all 9 of your questions in less than 15 minutes, then we can keep on going. We got to have a little fun, right? So here's the thing. I can believe that the United States should lower its levels of immigration in the future, while also respecting that there are people who have come here through lawful immigration pathways that have contributed to the country. But just because one person or 10 people or 100 people came in legally and contributed to the United States of America, does that mean that we're thereby committed to let in 1 million or 10 million or 100 million people a year in the future? No, that's not right. We cannot have...
Here she goes again.
I'll go and finish. We cannot have an immigration policy where what was good for the country 50 or 60 years ago binds the country inevitably for the future. There's too many people who want to come to the United States of America, and my job as vice president is not to look out for the interests of the whole world, it's to look out for the people of the United States. Now,
There we go, baby.
Now,
That's JD, dog.
you asked
He gets right into that.
a personal question about our interfaith household. And yes, my wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not a particularly religious family in either direction. In fact, when I met my wife, we were both, I would consider myself an agnostic or an atheist, and that's what I think she would have considered herself as well. You know, everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we've decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you.
In the chat, I see Michael Morgan says president in 28. What do you guys think? JD Vance, Trump, 2028? JD president, Trump VP vice president?
My 8-year-old
You're going to trigger some lefties, bro.
was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Ole Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can, and that's what I try to do. I want to make a final point. So I don't want to cut you off. I want to be respectful to all the people behind you in line, but I want to make this point about immigration, okay? If you ask the question, what is the exact right number of immigrants for the United States to let in, it is just very specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920s, the United States passed an Immigration Reform Act that effectively cut down immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. And what happened over those 40 years? The many, many people who had come from many different foreign countries and different foreign cultures, they assimilated into American culture. And there was an expectation that they would assimilate into American culture. I think we have two problems in our immigration system today. And my guess is you're probably a countries and different foreign cultures.
I want to hear this again.
They assimilated in the 1920s. The number of immigrants for the United States to let in, it is just very specific on the context. If you go back to the 1920s, the United States passed an Immigration Reform Act that effectively cut down immigration to close to zero for 40 years in this country. And what happened over those 40 years? The many, many people who had come from many different foreign countries and different foreign cultures, they assimilated into American culture. And there was an expectation that they would assimilate into American culture. I think we have two problems in our immigration system today. And my guess is you're probably a slightly more leftist political persuasion, liberal political persuasion, maybe not. But here's the thing. I remember back in my establishment GOP days when I was still very early getting involved in Republican politics, I remember a conservative think tank person who told me that one of the reasons why immigration was really good is that if you had enough diversity in a country, people would mistrust each other and they wouldn't join labor unions. Okay? So when I see a lot of left-wing people who theoretically support organized labor saying we need to flood the country with a limitless number of immigrants, they're unwilling to set any limitations on it. My response to that is you are destroying the very social trust on which American freedom and prosperity was built. And that is really important to me. So the honest answer to your question, what is the exact number of immigrants America should accept in the future? Right now, the answer is far less than we've been accepting. We have got to become a common community again, and you can't do that when you have such high numbers of immigration, which is one of the reasons why we have the immigration policy we do. Thank you. Next.
Damn, dude. Holy cow. Okay, that was a lot there. So his wife and him, even though his wife is Indian and he is not Indian, they are raising their family as Christians, and their kids go to Christian schools. And there was a lot he said about immigration. Wow, that was good. I learned something there. I didn't know we cut down immigration to almost zero from the 1920s to the 1960s.
Good evening, Vice President Vance. I just want to say it's an honor to actually be able to talk to you.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. One of my biggest questions is, I feel like one of the biggest problems that America is facing today is that ever-growing social political divide, and we're seeing this on the...
He in the chat asked me if I believe in climate change. To the way that people are telling you, calling out doomsdays and shit like that, no, not even close.
Republican and Democratic side. But we've seen that a refusal to cooperate with the other side has led to some major issues, including right now the government shutdown. And I wonder, as the party in power, what are your plans to address that issue towards, reaching that olive branch out? We've seen that a refusal to cooperate with the other side has led to some major issues, including right now the government shutdown. And I wonder, as the party in power, what are your plans to address that issue towards, reaching that olive branch out to the other side to actually come to an agreement on how to go forward with our government?
Look, it's a very good question. And let me just say, on the government shutdown in particular, the reality here is that there's a very simple bill that just reopens the government. It does it through pretty much the end of the year. That got every single Republican in the House of Representatives to support it. And then it got 52 Republicans in the Senate and 3 Democrats in the Senate to support it. But because of weird Senate procedural rules, it requires a 60-vote threshold. So on that issue in particular, when you have every single Republican with like 2 exceptions in both houses of Congress, I feel pretty confident. I know that I'm partisan. I know I have an R next to my name. But I feel pretty damn good saying the shutdown is the Democrats' fault because we voted again and again to open it.
What's up, Deshaun? Good to have you, bro. Yeah, climate change is a big change of subject, but no, I don't believe in what people say about humans having the amount of effect on climate as they say we have. I think climate's been up and down throughout the course of our planet's history. And what is happening is not leading us into a doomsday. And if you believed every time they told you there was a doomsday coming, we would have had already, I think, 3 or 4 of those doomsdays that we have lapsed. So we definitely are still alive, and the whole world is still alive. And every time they told you that the whole world's going to die because we're changing the climate, it has not happened yet, and it won't happen in the future based on what's going on now.
Now, but there's a broader question there, and I think most Americans, whatever their political persuasion, would actually like the country's political parties to work together better to solve the problems. And look, and I agree with that. And my approach when I was in the United States Senate was to try to find some issues where we could agree with the other side on and try to work with them on it. And let me give you one example. I really worry about concentration in the corporate sector. I worry about big corporate monopolies. I worry that when you have only 1 or 2 companies dominating an entire sector, it's bad for liberty and it's bad for prosperity. So you may be shocked to hear this, but I actually worked with Elizabeth Warren on some anti-monopoly stuff when I was in the United States Senate. But here's the problem. The problem is there is actually a lot of things where we could work across the aisle. There are a lot of President Trump is in my view, you haven't seen organized labor ever get behind a Republican at least in 100 years like they have behind Donald J. Trump. There are a lot of areas of common ground on that question. The problem is, As reasonable as some of these people can be in private, in public, the current obsession of the Democratic Party in leadership, I'm not saying every Democrat in the country, but the current obsession of every Democrat in Congress is get President Trump, fight President Trump, attack President Trump. It is impossible for us to work across the aisle unless a person is willing to put down their partisan sword, shut the hell up about fake scandals related to Donald Trump, and actually work with us. That's the way you make this happen. Next.
Just going through you guys in the chat here, says State Line makes a really good point, guys. If you do want to look into this stuff, State Line has pretty good, I think, insight on this. He says, he's saying climate change. It's a WEFEU elitist money laundering scheme. They get you to fear for your life for climate change so that you'll vote for Democrats, so that they will do things that will basically get the governments to spend money in the ways that they want on things that will positively affect the climate or help reduce our basically what we're doing to the climate. So it's all a big scheme. Everything we've done has done nothing. And by the way, our countries are not the biggest polluters. Our countries could become zero pollutants, and you still have the rest of the world putting out as much as they're doing, and it way outweighs what we do. So none of anything that we're doing in the West, I'm talking about U.S., Canada, not even that much, but U.S. and EU and some other places in the West, if we went after climate change and nailed it and made it zero pollution, still has no effect on what's happening, how much we're polluting the climate. And the fact is, what we're doing, all the polluting that we're doing, yes, we're polluting, but it's not a doomsday kind of a situation or even close to it. They just want you to spend money on windmills and fucking, I don't know, batteries and, let's do electric vehicles because it's going to change the world. And none of it has changed anything.
Thank you.
And they obviously say that, in our efforts to develop all this stuff and the production of all this stuff that helps the climate, we do more harm to the climate anyway in producing that stuff.
Thank you. Next. I'm going to try to get through as many as possible, guys. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, dude has crazy eyes. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this guy. Hold on here, bro. Let me go like this. Boom. Here, watch this. Let's see if I can go back. Dude's got crazy eyes.
Next. I'm going to try to get through as many as possible, guys. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Vice President.
Hello.
Hi. I actually drove here all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. Go Tigers. So I'm sure everyone here is aware of the Memphis Safe Task Force that has been in the city for about a month now. And I checked a little earlier. As of this morning, I believe they've arrested 1,700 people and seized about 300 illegal guns. So I want to ask, how does this law enforcement objective jive with Attorney General Pam Bondi's pledge to make the Department of Justice a more pro-Second Amendment Department of Justice? Because I'm sure most people in here support the Second Amendment. So how can Republicans and this Department of Justice use the current gun laws that are on the books that a lot of pro-Second Amendment advocates disagree with, that we wanted to overturn in the big, beautiful bill, but we didn't get it?
Yeah. So I understand the question. And by the way, I supported some of those changes in the big, beautiful bill. I know the President of the United States did too. We didn't have the votes to get them in there, and that's as simple as that. But I know exactly what you're talking about because there were a couple of issues in particular. I talked to some of my Second Amendment friends. But here's the basic issue. We don't want people who have violated the law, who have committed felonies. The Second Amendment, like every other amendment, it's about due process. It's that you don't have your rights violated unless there is due process of law. If you're a person who's committed 4 felonies and a court has lawfully ordered that you shouldn't have a gun and you're running around with a firearm, I don't have any problem with law enforcement saying you don't get to have that firearm that is illegally possessed, illegally obtained. I think that's basic law and order. Now, again, if you had...
Deshaun in the chat says those are called SSRI eyes.
You know, if you had somebody come in and say, well, we don't think that person should have a firearm, but they haven't violated any law, that's a totally separate question. That's not what we're focused on. What we're focused on is violent crime and people who have violated, you know, the bodily autonomy of another human people. A person who has committed an act of violence against one of their fellow citizens, we're going to clean up the streets, get those people off the streets, and make America safe for the American citizens again. That is our entire law and order policy, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at it. Thank you.
So this guy wanted to get rid of laws that were making it more difficult for people to get firearms, and JD said, look, we want to keep the ones on there that keep the people that are not mentally, don't have the mental capacity to have firearms. We want to keep those on the table.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a Christian man, and I'm just confused why that there's this notion that we might have owe Israel something, or that they're our greatest ally, or that we have to support this multi-hundred-billion-dollar.
This is a common question, I think, on both sides. I get this a lot now, man, from both sides.
Foreign aid package to Israel to cover this, to quote Charlie Kirk, ethnic cleansing in Gaza. I'm just confused why this idea has come around, considering the fact that not only does their religion not agree with ours, but also openly supports the prosecution of ours.
Yeah, so let me say a few things about this. First of all, when the President of the United States says America first, that means that he pursues the interests of Americans first. That is our entire foreign policy. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have alliances, that you're not going to work with other countries from time to time. And that is what the president believes, is that Israel, sometimes they have similar interests to the United States and we're going to work with them in that case. Sometimes they don't have similar interests to the United States. And this example, the most recent Gaza peace plan that all of us have been working on very hard for the past few weeks, the president of the United States could only get that peace deal done by actually being willing to apply leverage to the state of Israel. So when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the president of the United States, they're not controlling this president of the United States, which is one of the reasons why we'd be able to have some of the success that we've had in the Middle East. Now, you ask about, you know, sort of Jews disagreeing with Christians on certain religious ideas. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the realities is that Jews do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Obviously, Christians do believe that. There are some significant theological disagreements between Christians and Jews. My attitude is, let's have those conversations. Let's have those disagreements when we have them. But if there are shared areas of interest, we ought to be willing to do that too. For example,
I like that.
One thing I really care about is the preservation of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Christians believe that that is the site where Jesus Christ was crucified, and also that his tomb is right there as well. My attitude is, if we can work with our friends in Israel to make sure that Christians have safe access to that site, that's an obvious area of common interest. I am fine with that. What I'm not okay with is any country coming before the interests of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we're American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's what we're going to do. That's what we try to do every single day, I promise you. Thank you.
Love that. Love that. He says, obviously, we're going to disagree on stuff. And yes, let's have that dialogue and let's talk about it. But don't forget, don't lose sight of the fact that we agree on a lot of stuff as well. And we can work towards those things as well. We don't have to just be hard focused on to the things we disagree on. That's why when I go do live streams out in public, sometimes, one of the main questions I'll ask people is, what is one thing you agree with on the other side of the political spectrum? And that makes people think, because people don't ever ask themselves that question.
Hi, Mr. Vice President. I'm the president of our pro-life organization here at Ole Miss, Rebels for Life. And I myself, as the president, am 100% pro-life. And I know you've stated, you being Catholic, that in the past, you've stated that you're 100% pro-life. But since joining the presidential campaign as the VP, you've kind of wavered how you see abortion. So I'm just wondering what your stance is right now.
I agree, Random.
Do you think that someone else's right to liberty trumps someone else's right to life?
Well, first of all, I appreciate your question, and I appreciate the work that you do. You asked the question, do I think somebody else's right to liberty trumps somebody else's right to life? No, I do not. I, in fact, do not believe that. Now, you said, and I'm going to take issue with something you said, just the premise of the question, which is,
Random, what you say goes back to Jordan Peterson, bro. He says, get your own house in order before you go making fun or criticizing other people.
that I've wavered on the pro-life issue. I really do believe
or trying to help other people, or go try to meddle in other people's things.
the president has been the most pro-life president in the history of the United States of America. Now, that said, there are two things that I think we have to keep in mind here. Now, one is the
Dang. So as we know, Min said she studied theology. She has multiple theology degrees. And look at what she says. She says, state line, 1,000%, Islam is at war with us. See, Min, that's something that I want to ask you about. Since you've studied this stuff, I'd love to learn more about, your thoughts on this stuff.
very, very hard question of, when we talk about our abortion policy, there are some very, very difficult edge cases. There are cases where you've got, an 11-year-old girl who was raped.
Oh, shoot.
And the most pro-life president in the history of the United States of America. Now, that said, there are two things that I think we have to keep in mind here. Now, one is the very, very hard question of, when we talk about our abortion policy, there are some very, very difficult edge cases. There are cases where you've got, an 11-year-old girl who was raped, who it would be unsafe for her to bring the baby to term. You've got situations where, bringing a baby to term would cause serious bodily harm, maybe death for the mother. That's one of the reasons why we believe in the exception in these cases where you have, again, they're edge cases, they're rare. I think the pro-abortion community would have you believe that's 90% of abortions. That's not true. But we got to be honest about the fact that there are some edge cases. The second thing I'd say about this is that we have to be prudential and practical in what can get accomplished. And there may be disagreements about what exactly that is, but if you look at the pro-life victories that the President of the United States has been able to achieve, he's been able to achieve them because he has worked within the system that we have. If your attitude is you are going to pursue the most aggressive pro-life option, even if it means you lose every election and every outcome means that you're going to be in a situation where the Democrats have abortion on demand up to the moment of birth to the very end. You've got to work within the political constraints that we have. Now, here let me just say something about this. And somebody asked me earlier about my Christian values. And one of the points I made is that when the settlers came to the New World, they found a very widespread child sacrifice. I imagine there are some people who don't agree with my view on the pro-life issue. Let me just make an observation. If you go to historical archaeological sites where there were brothels, and the two oldest businesses in the world are gambling and prostitution, so there were brothels even in very ancient civilizations. If you go back to ancient brothels and you dig up the bones of the women who are working in these places, you will very often find a lot of children who were buried with them. And the answer is that whenever a society decides to discard innocent babies, they also don't treat their women very well. And whenever a society mistreats its women, it is very often the babies who come right after that. There is a reason why Christian civilization ended the practice of child sacrifice all over the world, and it's one of the great accomplishments of Christian civilization. I believe that we should try to be protecting every unborn life. There's a question of exactly how we do it, but I would never say that anyone's right to life should be sacrificed. Thank you, man.
First, I just have to say I'm thrilled to hear you.
A couple of points you guys made in the chat. Obviously, this is a major one. Where was it here? Random said it. He said, at a certain point, we have to look back through history and plainly see that religion has been at the heart of almost every major world conflict since we were still wearing loincloths. I love that word, loincloths. Oh, man. And followed by saying religion has killed more people than malaria. Yes, it has. And Min, if you're down to talk about Islam, I'd love to learn more about it. Definitely love to learn. Yeah, definitely want to understand about it. Okay, yeah.
Articulate Christian values on a stage like this, and to remind us that things we take for granted and things we value so much have a Christian origin. So thank you for that. I really mean that. However,
so much of liberalism, by the way, so much of the far left is a sort of, if you really pay attention to it, it's a kind of perverted version of Christianity. Like, there's nothing wrong, of course, with focusing on people who are disenfranchised, for example. That's the focus of liberalism. But if you completely separate it from any religious duty, any civic virtue, then that can actually become, for example, an inducement to lawlessness. You can't just have compassion for the criminal, you also have to have justice too, which is why I think that a properly rooted Christian moral order is such an important part of the future of our country. But sorry, I interrupted you, go ahead.
No, amen, absolutely. Now, as much as I hope and pray that we can be a nation of Christians, the idea of a Christian nation scares me. So I'd like to hear your feedback on a pretty nuanced argument here, that perhaps there should be a wall of separation, as at least one of our founders advocated, between church and state at the national level. However, that line can and should get blurrier as we descend to the community level. And perhaps that is actually the system, the structure that our founders gave us when they said Congress shall make no law establishing a religious body. However, states did have close relationships with churches at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a rationale that works? Do you think that is the way we should implement around these Christian values?
So this is a very nuanced point, and I want to just make sure that everybody's kind of on the same page here. So if you go back to the First Amendment, it doesn't say separation of church and state. It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. But if you go back to the founding time, there were actually a number of states that had formally recognized churches. So there was the Anglican Church of Virginia. That was the official state church of Virginia. Maryland at the time was the only majority Catholic colony, or at least had a significant Catholic representation of the original 13 colonies. There's a lot there. And yes, I do think that what happened is the Supreme Court interpreted Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion to effectively throw the church out of every public space at the federal, state, and local level. I think it was a terrible mistake, and we're still paying for the consequences of it today. But and I think this is your point, if you were to undo that, if you were to get back to a system actually meant by the founders where Congress...
I got to read this in the chat because this does make a lot of sense, and when people hear this, it'll make you think, a little more about this. Michael Morgan in the chat says, Islam is a governance, not a religion. And as myself, as a product of immigrants that came from a country that got destroyed by the implementation of an Islamic government, I've seen it as an actual official government, but through my eyes, through my experience, through what I've seen in the world and what I understand, it does feel more like Islam is more, even when it's a religion and not actual government of a country, it does act, or it moves towards the direction of governing and making more people. It is a religion I've seen that pushes itself more onto people and tries to convert more people than more other religions, in my experience. But and to my knowledge, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it does seem more of an authoritative governing type of a power, even when it's not the official government of the country.
Is not setting up an established religion, but people in their local communities can kind of do whatever it is that they want to do. I think that would be a better system than what we have today. But I think the most important principle that we have got to remember is you do not have to completely kick God out of the public square, which is what we've done in modern America. It's not what the founders wanted. It's not good for the United States of America. And anybody who tells you it's required by the Constitution is lying to you. Thank you.
Hello, JD. How you doing today, man?
Sean Williams said it pretty cleanly. He says, yes, Islam is mainly political. Conversion at the end of an, yeah.
Good. How you doing?
Of an AK. Yeah.
In the wise words of Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands.
What did he
Don't
say?
feel
Hold
bad.
on.
Neither do I half the time, man.
Hold on. What did he say?
Hello, JD. How you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing?
In the wise words of Ricky Bobby, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Don't feel bad. Neither do I half the time, man.
Okay. First off, yeah, laugh it up. Okay, first off, I just want to say I am a huge supporter of the Trump administration. I was 3 months too late to vote for you guys, but if I could have, I would have. So.
I love his accent, bro. Fuck, I love his accent. I don't know what it is.
I'm a huge
It's
supporter
so
of you
good.
guys before I make my argument, but there is something you guys are doing that is kind of disturbing me a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. You guys,
love
you guys have sent the military into Washington, D.C. and a few other cities that I can't think of off the top of my head, which first off, they've had wonderful results. Like no one can deny the results of that. It's wonderful. Some might even say the greatest. I'm a comedian.
I like this guy. Who is this guy?
I love it. Let me hear this guy
Thank you,
again,
but
bro.
there is something you guys are doing that is kind of disturbing me a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. You guys have sent the military into Washington, D.C. and a few other cities that I can't think of off the top of my head, which first off, they've had wonderful results. Like no one can deny the results of that. It's wonderful. Some might even say the greatest. I'm a comedian.
I like this guy. Who is this guy?
Thank you, JD. I like you too.
Now he's gonna ask the question about all the shit that we did wrong, but that's okay. Go ahead and ask your question.
But yeah, I'm just wondering, well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong? Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against something really bad that we don't like, and let's say he's a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we? I'm trying to think. My mind's kind of blank. What is the difference between what you're doing and how could we prevent someone from abusing that power?
Yeah. So look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think it's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another administration do, to take a wild, hypothetical example totally off the top of my head, what if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents? Okay? So here's something that I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years.
I want to hear that again, dude. I'm sorry, guys. I got to hear this again.
Go ahead and ask your question.
But yeah, months too late to vote for you guys, but if I could have, I would have. So I'm a huge supporter of you guys before I make my argument, but there is something you guys are doing that is kind of disturbing me a little.
Random in the chat said this kid is gonna pull mad bitches after this. Oh yeah, you will.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. You guys have you guys have sent the military into Washington, D.C. and a few other cities that I can't think of off the top of my head, which first off, they've had wonderful results. Like no one can deny the results of that. It's wonderful. Some might even say the greatest.
Yes. I love it.
I'm a comedian.
I like this guy. Who is this guy?
There's a couple cuties behind him,
Thank
too.
you, JD. I like you, too.
Now he's gonna.
How come all these conservative girls are so much hotter, dude?
Ask the question.
Can someone tell me why?
All the shit that we did wrong, but that's okay. Go ahead and ask your question.
But yeah, I'm just wondering, well, it's not necessarily something you did wrong, but it's what could someone else do wrong? Let's say we get a complete tyrant in office, and let's say Turning Point USA is having a huge protest against, something really bad that we don't like, and let's say he's, a president is saying that it's getting violent. How can we, I'm trying to think, my mind's kind of blank. What is the difference between what you're doing and how could we prevent someone from abusing that power?
Yeah, so look, I understand where the question is coming from, and I think it's a fair question. And it's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic, and it really is not meant in any offense. But when you talk about what could another
It's the big, beautiful eyebrows. It's the big, beautiful brows, bro.
administration do
Yeah, guys, why is it these chicks on the right are so much hotter, bro?
to take a walk?
If we go look at a left, kind of a similar thing from the left, bro, it'd be all.
Wild, hypothetical example, totally off the top of my head. What if Joe Biden sent the Federal Bureau of Investigation to start arresting his political opponents? Okay, so here's something that I want conservatives. I want
Straight freak show, bro.
every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years. And in particular, if you look at what we're doing, if Joe Biden wanted to deploy the National Guard to a red state in a place where the murder rate was twice what it is in third world countries to actually go after murderers, that would be a great use of the National Guard. Unfortunately, I don't think Joe Biden would use it like that. What I'm worried about, frankly, is what the far left already did with American law enforcement, and that is the thing that we have to prevent against. And the answer to that question is you make sure the people who did it face penalties for using the federal power against American citizens. And by the way, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you, JD. Honor to meet you, man.
Good to meet you, too.
Love his accent, bro. Fuck, I love this dude. I want to hear more from this dude. Random in the chat said something that has been on my mind. Random says, eventually we need to do a regular stream. This vertical chat effing sucks. We need to do he's saying the regular horizontal screen, not the vertical. I would be down. I'll have much more space to do my videos and put myself and all this kind of stuff. Right now, it's just like jammed in, and I feel squeezed in. If I had a regular stream, a wide stream, are you guys down for that? Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Dude, man.
This will be the last question.
Ricky Bobby, 2048. That's who I'm voting for. This is the last. Oh, wow. We've been here over an hour. That's amazing. Okay, I'm sorry. Those of you who didn't get to answer a question, I tried to be as quick as I could. Go ahead.
Mr. Vice President, I'm humbled and honored to be here. Recently, President Trump endorsed a candidate to run against Republican Representative Thomas Massie, who has opposed and criticized some of the Trump administration's aims. How would you address those who fear that principled disagreement or independent thinking is discouraged within the party because of how it can be framed as a betrayal instead of as internal accountability or an opportunity for debate and negotiation?
So it's a very good question. And let me say, this one is hard for me. And the reason it's hard for me is because Thomas Massie and he's one of the first people that ever reached out to me about my book or about political office. I've known Thomas Massie well before I ever got involved in politics. Thomas's wife died maybe it was a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It was a little while ago. She died very unexpectedly, was a very sweet and kind woman. and I was probably one of the first people that called Thomas to offer my condolences. I think the problem with Thomas, and I've told him this in private, and now I guess I'll say it in public, is it's one thing to disagree with the party on a particular issue. It's one thing to to have your independent stand on a number of questions. And by the way, some of the stuff where Thomas Massie has been independent against the Republican Party, I've agreed with him with. Thomas and I worked together during 2023, where I was trying to stop the limitless flow of American money to Ukraine, and Thomas was one of the people I was working closest with it. But that's one thing. Being independent, having your own opinions is one thing. Voting against the party on every single issue, you're eventually going to make too many enemies. And that is the problem that Thomas has had. It's not one issue, it's not 3 or 4 issues. It's that every time that we've needed Thomas for a vote, he has been completely unwilling to provide it. That is why the President of the United States has trained his ire on Thomas Massie. It's because we can never count on him for some of the most difficult votes. I wish that weren't the case. I say that as somebody who's known Thomas well before I got into politics, but politics is politics, and when you always vote against the party, you can't expect the party to actually back you. That's the reality. So, let me say just a couple of final things before I hit the road here. And one, it has been such an amazing honor to be with all of you this evening. I want to say 2 things. I want to say 2 things. Number one, when I was back in my agnostic days and I was thinking about returning to my faith, I remember talking to a friend of mine and actually talking about, a number of things. And he said something to me that was really interesting. And I was talking about
thank you, Tough Luck, bro. He says, let's get those likes up. Best live stream in a while. Everyone is cutting up jokes and having a good time. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yes, thank you, guys. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for supporting me. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
I was looking to the future. I was talking about everything that was broken in the world. And I said to him, things are just really, really dark. And he stopped me in my tracks. He said, JD, you're right. There are a lot of things that are really dark out there, but despair is a sin. Now, I know not all of you are Christians, but for the Christians out there, I think that it is very important to remember that despair is actually a sin. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to criticize. It's okay to think that things aren't going well with a particular issue, but we are called to never give up hope. But I think one of the critical lessons of Charlie Kirk's life to his dying breath, this was a man who never lost hope in his creator and never lost hope in the United States of America. So let's remember that and carry that forward as a way to remember.
JD 2028, baby. What did you guys say? JD Marco Rubio? I think that's what Min and someone else was saying. I think it was Aquarium.
And the second thing that I want to say is, in line with despair being a sin, look, I imagine that I can tell most of you apparently agree with a lot of what I said. I'm sure that a lot of you disagree with some of the things that I've said. That's okay. We don't need in our political movement people who agree with us on every single issue. We got to.
Mr. R says, I like DeSantis. Bro, we need DeSantis in California, man. Can we get DeSantis in Cali? Please just come over here for like a couple of years. Do a little cleanup for us, man. Come on, dude.
A couple of questions about Israel. We got a couple of questions about the National Guard deployments. We don't need somebody who agrees with us on every single question or every single issue. What we need is people of good faith who love the United States of America and are willing to work hard to save it. So when you look at all the accomplishments, you look at the accomplishments of the last 9 months, we inherited the worst border crisis in the history of the United States of America. We shut down the border, and net immigration is 2.5 million lower today than it was in 9 months. That means the total number of people that have been sent out of this country is 2.5 million. We have 2.5 million fewer illegal immigrants than we had. That's a great accomplishment.
I did not know that number. I want to hear that one more time.
Who love the United States of America and are willing to work hard to save it. So when you look at all the accomplishments, you look at the accomplishments of the last 9 months. We inherited the worst border crisis in the history of the United States of America. We shut down the border, and net immigration is 2.5 million lower today than it was in 9 months. That means the total number of people that have been sent out of this country is 2.5 million. We have 2.5 million fewer illegal immigrants than we had. That's a great accomplishment. We inherited a terrible affordability crisis from Joe Biden, and I'm not going to tell you everything's perfect because it was a real bad situation that we inherited, but inflation is consistently below economists' expectations, and we're chipping away at it every single day. We inherited an economy where we had the largest trade deficit in the history of the United States of America. In 9 months, Donald Trump's tariff policies have cut the American trade deficit by over half. That means we're making more of our own stuff, and we're actually employing American workers to do it.
Yeah, Mr. R says only 25 million to go. And you guys are saying that Gen Z is making more common sense videos on topics, and it's encouraging. Random says, yeah, younger generation is coming around quickly. I agree. I think they are. I think, the Democratic Party, when they've already been shitting on all the men, for sure, any straight men, be it white, be it any straight man, definitely the younger generation. But with this last election, they basically came out and said, for those of you that didn't vote for Kamala, you're misogynist. Or the way they put it is, Kamala Harris didn't win because our country is misogynist. It doesn't like women, or it's racist, and so they came out and blamed everyone else, and they keep chopping up our population and discarding a lot of just boom boom, don't like this, you guys don't, and so they kind of are putting themselves into a smaller and smaller box and rejecting more and more people. I think the younger generation is coming around. I think Jordan Peterson did a great job when he was going hard in the paint and talking to the younger generation, as well as, of course, Charlie Kirk, which is basically what this is all about here. And I think you have the Nick Fuenteses and all these other people that are really coming around for the younger generation. So I think you guys are definitely right, and I'm seeing that.
And all that is to say that very often Charlie Kirk would call me and he would say, not attaboy, but he would say, do more, do more, do more. And I listened to Charlie because he was a dear friend and because I knew that he loved this country. My point is, the best way in your life to honor Charlie Kirk's legacy, it's not to despair, but to hope in the future of this country. If you disagree with something, then get involved in.
And then you got people like Kyle that just jumped in and says, Hans, they don't get benefits because they don't have social security numbers. Not true. Kyle also just came in and said the Republican Party doesn't have policies. Nick Fuentes is a Nazi. I would tell Kyle Donahue, you had a Democrat that ran last year against Trump, Kamala Harris, who was not able to articulate any policies. And so for you to come out and say Republicans have no policies when Republicans straight up were able to articulate policies, and that's I think 50% of their reason for winning the election is because not only did they have policies, they were able to articulate the policies. I think that's very disingenuous to come out and just say that kind of dumb shit, without you just saying things, without actually pointing to reality, to what it is.
In the movement to save this country. If you think that we could be doing more, then pick up the phone and get involved in the effort to change our minds and change the future of the United States of America.
Jen, you could let him, you could let them make those comments and have that in there, because they call people Nazis all the time, and they're welcome to do that because it just shows how they are reducing the weight behind those words. They said the word Nazi so much. He just called, who did he call? He called Nick Fuentes a Nazi. It's like, dude, you guys have used that word so much. Hitler and fascist, you guys use it so much in the wrong ways, in things that make no sense, that now doesn't mean anything anymore. It really doesn't.
America in the process.
So go ahead and say it.
My friends, the rebels of Ole Miss, despair is a sin. Do not give in to despair. Let's keep fighting to save the United States of America. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is. They use it so much that it means nothing anymore.
Also communication with those around you, and certain.
So you guys want to do a horizontal stream next time? I could do a horizontal tonight. I could try that.
In your training, that's important to make sure you're operating it safely. Putting them behind the wheel of these tractor trailers weighing tens of thousands of pounds loaded with explosive fuel down the highway endangers every single citizen.
I want to hear what she has to say about the public transportation and all that. Hans says Fuentes doesn't represent us. Conservatives can disagree. He talked about Massey disagreement. Yeah, I agree, Hans. You know, on the conservative side, on the right side, we understand that we don't have to agree on everything while still being able to respect each other and find places where we may agree, because the disagreements should not block us from working on the things we agree, which is what J.D. Vance was just saying. There's lots of things I agree with what was I going to say? With Nick Fuentes, lots of things. You know,
difficult to stop, maneuver. You have to have a skill set, but also communication with those around you, and certainly.
She's talking about truck drivers, I believe here.
Training that's important.
Let me go back so we can hear this.
Years and 18-wheelers, and understand they're difficult to stop, maneuver. You have to have a skill set, but also communication with those around you. And certainly in your training, that's important to make sure you're operating it safely. Putting them behind the wheel of these tractor trailers weighing tens of thousands of pounds loaded with explosive fuel down the highway endangers every single citizen that is on our roads. Today, these individuals will speak about some of those incidences that we've seen, but also what we're doing to clean up this activity and those dangers every single day. Now, through our 287G partnership that we have with the state of Indiana, we have run an operation recently which has allowed to hundreds of arrests that has brought people in that are breaking our laws. Through that partnership, 223 illegal aliens have been arrested and taken off of our roads. Of those, 146 of them were drivers. That includes 46 semi-truck drivers and another 82 of them that were either box trucks, buses, moving vans.
Kyle Donahue again. Google takes 6 seconds. Not sure what that 6 seconds means. To search it. Oh yeah, yeah. Of course, you're gonna have all kinds of polarizing comments and points of view. Opinions about Nick Fuentes. Again, you can listen and discard and cancel the whole guy completely from your brain. And not listen to him at all, or you can listen and see what else is there to it and make your own decisions. If you don't like it, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. You can do that. For the other ones, for those of us that are open-minded, we're gonna go ahead and listen, and we're gonna see where do we agree, where do we disagree, and go from there. I agree with a lot of stuff that he says.
Vehicles such as that. The CDLs that were issued to those individuals were issued from over a dozen different states. Many of those individuals could have been licensed.
One of the things he said I said this when we played this that one night is one of the things he's that I like. What was it with? It was with Tucker Carlson. He said, "Men are the responsible party, but they don't have the authority. And I think that is a major problem. And I think that's a major problem that the left is pushing. They're trying to make men, not be men and not have when we talk about authority, that can be interpreted in many different ways, but a major issue with, let's just say, young men that are growing up to be men, or whatever, however you want to call that, is they're being raised to not be actual men and not actually live out their lives as a man. They want to demasculate them. They want to get them more into their feelings. They want to make them not able to be leaders, not be able to make decisions for the families, not be protectors. They look down on men that are stronger, and you're just trying to be you're part of this patriarchy. Well, there is a natural patriarchy. There are these types of things that are naturally. I mean, if you think about it, that's what nature has been. That's what humans have been since the beginning of time. And that's why it's worked. It's like that in the animal kingdom. But they want us to discard a lot of that stuff and throw it in the trash and say that men are bad for being what men are naturally.
In a state somewhere and received their CDL in another state, but overwhelmingly, these individuals have come from sanctuary states such as California and Illinois and New York. If you are here driving on our streets illegally and our highways, you are endangering our citizens, and your days are numbered. I want to thank Secretary Sean Duffy from the Department of Transportation for all of his work, too. You've seen him focus on the effort to get these individuals off of our streets, and I want to thank him for doing that and implementing new policies and regulations that will keep our citizens safe. Too many families across this country have felt pain and been victimized and lost loved ones because of these illegal drivers. Just earlier this month here in Indiana, we saw an illegal alien from Serbia and Montenegro was operating his semi-truck without a valid commercial license. He swerved into oncoming traffic and killed Jeffrey Eberly. In August, Indian illegal alien killed 3 people in a reckless driving highway incident in Florida. And I think most of you remember the news coverage from that, but the devastating impacts of that loss. That CDL had been issued in California by Governor Gavin Newsom. Just last week, another Indian illegal alien killed 3 Americans on a highway in California. He was intoxicated behind the wheel of his truck. Every single time one of these individuals gets behind the truck, on the wheel of a truck, they are in front of a deadly weapon that can kill other Americans as well. Behind me, you will see 4 different placards of individuals that we're talking about today specifically. These individuals are some of the worst that we've been able to arrest under Operation Midway Blitz. The first one I'll talk about is from Mexico, and this individual was convicted.
That's a good question, Random. Where do black people? A random question is. Let's see, where is it? Oh, where are black people being oppressed in this country? Great question. Where do black people not have the same rights as everyone else? Another great question. Where is it not safe for a black person to be standing? There are none.
Felony, cruelty towards a child. He was also previously found to have possessing a fraudulent driver's license as well, and guilty of that and convicted. The next one is a criminal illegal
State Line said it well. In their own minds, victim mentality.
alien from Mexico who was.
Let's take a look at this.
For those who don't know, July is White History Month. I started this month because white people are not recognized and appreciated. And if it wasn't for white Americans, there would be no America. All right. And all these POCs, people of color, who are coming here and who are already here, and you're angry at the white people. If it wasn't for them, you'd be stuck in your S-hole countries. From this point forward, July is White History Month. All right. Tell everybody and their mama about it as well.
I don't know where you got your schooling at, but your vocabulary is horrible.
I know, isn't that a mess?
Horrible.
A mess.
I don't understand
it's
how
a mess.
They put you on television. All the white guys behind them. You need to take lessons from these guys.
Okay, I will, but that's good advice. It's so amazing to me, too, that I run a national organization for 28 years that I founded. I write books up and down the coast. I give public speeches around the country and been invited to do it around the world. I do a radio and a national TV show. I can barely speak English. I have a cleft lip and all that stuff.
Right?
Did you vote for the Great White Hope?
You calling Donald Trump the Great White Hope?
That's right.
Okay, the big orange disaster is what I call him. Yeah.
Did you vote for him, first of all?
No.
Do you want to be forgiven for what you've done in the past? Because that's not who you are today?
No, that is who he is today. That is
are you the same person today as you were in the past?
I'm not.
But why?
I'm not.
Why is it that you're not, but he can't change?
He hasn't shown change.
So
why do you love this man? What does this man do? Do you like black people? What did your black skin ever do to you?
Why
Mr.
you asking me
Peterson?
that? Well, haven't I shown I love black people?
You have shown that you strongly despise black people.
By doing what?
Saying stuff like the Great White Hope.
I have T-shirts that says the Great White Hope.
But I gotta ask you a question.
Also,
please.
listen, you didn't know this about me. I call Obama the fallen Messiah. He's married to Big Mama, and he's afraid of his wife.
Mr. Peterson.
The reason I'm telling you the truth about it because you people are being controlled.
people?
The blacks are being controlled.
You were not one of us?
I'm not a one of you as
And
far
we're
as
not
being
black,
controlled and manipulated.
You want to be
you've
white,
been
huh?
told that the white man, you've been told that the white man is doing this to you, and you believed it to a lie, and that's how you're being controlled, when it really was the blacks and the Arabs who sold you to others, to whites and to other blacks, because blacks had slaves in
Where
the
did
country
your
too. Did you know that blacks had slaves here as well? Are you
Mr. Peterson.
proud of the great job that the Great White Hope has done in the first year in office as president?
Who's the Great White Hope?
The president. President Trump. Sent you.
Try to shake his hand. Try to shake his hand and see
Right,
if you shake
see
your
if he
hand.
pass you up.
So
Stick
you're
your
not-
hand out, try to shake his hand and see if you shake your hand.
Right.
And see how much you love your white hope.
So you're not proud of what he's done?
No.
Did you vote for him?
Huh?
Did you vote for him?
No.
Do you vote?
No.
Oh, Israelites don't vote?
No.
Oh, okay. And you're not proud of the Great White Hope either?
You are?
I don't call him the Great White Hope,
You
first
proud
of
of
all,
him?
but no, I'm not proud of Trump.
Very
You
much
put
so.
the country first. And my last question, did you have fun?
I don't even know how to answer that, man. I'm kind of like sad, man, because
Yeah,
of the way
I am
your
too.
views.
Yeah.
It's not fun
That you
to hear
don't love
talk
your
like
people.
that.
You're one
Did
of
you
us.
have fun?
No.
You didn't have fun. Did you have fun?
I had a good time, but I would have had a better time if you were in a different place than where you are.
I've
You're a
been there
different mind
before,
frame.
but God took the anger away. He set me free.
We're not angry
Did you have
people.
fun?
We're not angry people.
I love his responses, bro. I've been there, but
Yeah, you real funny.
Took the anger out, set me free.
Thank you all for tuning in. So you believe in destroying whiteness, you will destroy white supremacy. I'm reading here. Is that right?
Yes, white supremacy is the structure.
Why do black people see white, well, most blacks, not all, the good ones don't, but why do most black people like yourself see white people as supreme over them?
I think that, again, is a mischaracterization. It's not about individual white people, but a larger system and structure that provides certain sets of unearned privileges and ascribes status to white people and white bodies and those that adopt white ideologies.
I'm not understanding that. And say, make it a little simpler for me and the people who are listening and watching.
Well, let me break it down. Let me break it down like this.
You see white people.
Tammy, Tammy in the chat, and this is just what my observation as well. That's why I stopped responding to Kyle Donahue, because of what Tammy Pierce is saying. Kyle, full of talking points, void of any facts or actually real world examples of what that person is saying. He or she or they, them, I don't know, it, Z, zer, I'm not sure, sorry. Don't want to misgender you, Kyle.
Beta male, beta male. People ask
Kyle, you are a Trump hater and you are a beta male.
You are a Trump hater and you are a beta male.
Satan is your daddy, woman.
Satan is your daddy, woman. Satan is your daddy, woman. supreme over you because
We don't.
you guys have spent 60 years complaining and watching and complaining about white people, where in the good old days when men were men and boys were boys, blacks were not doing that.
Our religious heritage is rooted in the regrettable experience of slavery.
You used to be enslaved?
Yes, we used to be slaves.
You were a slave at one time?
No, I was not. I know I was never. I was born in the 1950s, so slavery was long gone by then. But I still experience the legacy of slavery.
How?
And the
In what way?
legacy of discrimination.
He experienced the legacy of slaves. No, you experienced nothing of the sort. You experienced no slavery at all.
When I experience barriers that exist simply because of the color of my skin, those barriers are still real and they still exist.
So how did you get to APU and do all that, be the dean and do all that if barriers are in your way?
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? It's a miracle. That's a miracle.
Is it possible because...
That's amazing.
That's amazing. They were not there, at least not from the white folks.
That who was not there?
Barriers were not there. It was all in your mind. It's not real.
You're still a black man, right?
But let me ask,
Kyle, just giving you back what you're dishing out. You just came out here, called people Nazis and said all kinds of stuff, and you have no actual facts or examples of what you're saying. You're just randomly saying some things. So then we're gonna do the same thing, just like this. Satan is your daddy, woman.
Satan is your daddy, woman. Let me ask. Why is it that black men, like all other races...
Why is it that you can do it, but we can't? Huh? Why can you do it and we can't? You can do it and we're supposed to be, oh, wow, look at Kyle's. Wow, respect Kyle. But as soon as we do it, you're going to go cry.
As a man, why don't you stop begging the white man to give you a job?
Please, bro. Done being nice to liberals, bro. Done with it.
And all that. Instead, build your own job.
I promote that. I promote doing for yourself.
No, you're not. You're blaming the white man. Though.
Done being nice to losers, bro.
Give you work.
What
you're saying the white man won't give you a job.
I said
you're gonna come in here and talk all kinds of shit and not have any way of backing yourself up or providing examples. You're gonna get it too.
Promote jobs. I didn't say give me a job. I believe in doing for yourself. I believe in creating your own businesses.
Why
That's
do you
what
need the white man to promote jobs? Why don't you promote them? What's different about the white man than you?
Oh, let's see. He stole everything he has. He got 246 years.
What has he stolen from you?
A free.
Thank you, Hans. Hans in the chat says Nazi is a socialist platform. None of conservatives are socialists. It's a silly thing. There's a lot of other things that are silly about calling conservatives Nazis, bro. What Hans said is one of the big ones.
Labor from black people.
What has
black
he
people
stolen
built
from
this
black
country.
people today?
Oh, he stole our culture. He stole our language. He stole our heritage. He stole our labor. He murdered and slaughtered our children, our babies, our women, our men. Do we need to continue stolen inventions that we couldn't patent because they created a patent office?
What's your language that they stole?
The different.
Still calling names. It says you're a child. Among the other things, Kyle Zezer has called me. It says you're a child. Have absolutely nothing to back your issues. Again, I'm typing on a small screen. You have all those buttons with preloaded grade school insults because that's what you're worth. You're worth grade school insults. That's your value. You're worth this right here.
So you're gay? I didn't know you were gay. How did you become gay? What the?
Satan is your daddy, woman.
Satan is your daddy, woman.
African dialects they stole. We didn't come here speaking English.
But white people speak English. They don't speak African dialect.
So,
that mess.
when we came off the ships, we didn't speak English. So you stole our language.
What do you mean they stole it?
They wouldn't allow you to speak it, and they'll beat the hell out of you or kill you.
So you
stole
came off the ship speaking black stuff? When would black people be happy and say that's enough? When will we know that they're satisfied? Because they wanted affirmative action, we gave them that. Okay. They wanted to get into the white school, we let them get into that without earning. They want to move into the white communities.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite ones. Look at these are the same couches, bro. Look at this.
Let them do that without earning it. And now they...
or chairs, I should say.
Want reparations. They even wanted the white woman, so we gave up the white woman to them. Remember that?
Wait. Oh, no. So you're not calling yourself black, is what you're saying?
I am black, but I'm not into the black thing.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we gave them the white woman. When
Danielle says Kyle's a beta male. By the way, hi to you, Medi, in the chat. What's up, Danielle? Don't be a beta male.
You are a Trump hater.
No.
And you're a beta male. Are you out of your cotton picking mind? Beta male. Man, be a alpha male, not a beta male. It would be enough.
Well, I think the thing
when
is,
would they say, okay, white folks, we had enough, we got what we need?
I can't give you a short answer to that. Again, it's complicated because it goes back to that concept of retention, right? Where you're saying that, okay, black people have gotten all this stuff, they've done this. Well, again, the research shows that you can put several black people into a space within the organization.
And they'll destroy it.
No, I'm not going to say that.
You got to agree that everything black people touch, they destroy it.
Oh, no, I can't
Tell
agree
me
with that
one
all the way.
thing that they built, majority of black people live, or majority of black people did, and you want to live there.
Atlanta is a great place. Why not
No,
live
it's
there?
not.
You don't
There were attacks on cops in two separate incidents. And in one incident, the cops were trying to make an arrest. Some black people threw water on the cops. They threw an item and hit the cops in the back of the head. Another incident, they attacked the cops as well. Is that black brutality on cops?
Oh, God, no. When you're defending yourself, that's just common sense.
Outrage this morning over the complete disrespect towards New York City Police Department officers being drenched with water, all caught on cell phone video.
Oh my God, they came over here to talk to them that they violated. Yo, they violated them.
And that's not the only one. A separate incident on the other side of town. This video showing a bucket being hurled at a cop.
Are you proud of your people for acting that way?
I'm proud of people defending themselves and police officers that act like they are actually serving people when in fact they are using the badge under color of law to murder black people. That should be the issue.
What those black people did to those cops, was that wrong?
No, not when you're defending yourself. I don't think
White people do not feel that way.
You can't speak for all white people. You ain't even white, Jesse.
The blacks who are
You ain't even white.
insecure, the blacks who are insecure feel that white people
That's not
think
true.
that they're
We're not talking
supreme.
about white people. We are talking about structural racism, Jesse.
You're projecting.
We're not projecting.
Yes, you are.
No, we're talking about systemic racism. You have a beautiful placard here that talks about drinking fountains.
Right.
Right? And so when white folks are legislating where black people can get access to water, that is a structural form of racism.
But even when they had the for colors only drinking fountain for white only, blacks were still doing better then than they are today because the men were not sitting around whining like little girls talking about white people holding them back. Do you realize you're fighting an illusion? That what you're fighting
Oh, I'm
is
not fighting an illusion. I
is
deal
not
with it every
real?
day. I confront it every day. People of color confront it every day.
How do you know what white people are imagining?
Because we talk to them, Jesse. All right. And
How
so
do
when we're
we
talking
know
about
you're not making that up? Because liberals tend to lie. They don't tell the truth. Do you believe that all lives matter?
All lives should be equal to each other, but it just seems
Donald Deal says, I'm a white guy who grew up in both white and black neighborhoods, poor ones, and the problem is green, not black or white. The problem is cultural. The problem is the government giving too many handouts and getting people stuck on the government's tit.
disproportionately that black lives are getting.
The problem is people not learning how to become responsible for themselves and integrating into the normal community and society that is being responsible for themselves.
Gunned down more than others.
Do you believe that all lives matter?
I think there is a problem with illegal immigration and the fact that they don't assimilate to our Western ways. And which is why they come to our country and kill themselves to get here, because they love our Western civilization. Yet they want to act like there are other ways that they came from, and they want to turn our civilization into their civilization that they ran from. But there's also an assimilation, I believe, of people that are stuck on the government's tit, where they need to learn how to assimilate to the regular society that is being responsible for themselves. You need to learn how to be responsible for yourself. I think there is that sort of a lack of assimilation as well.
All lives should matter.
Do you believe that all lives matter?
All lives should matter, yes.
That's not the question.
That's the answer.
So you don't believe all lives matter?
No, of course. All lives do matter, yes, but you have to break that down even more. It's not as simple as that.
Okay. Do
I just said,
everybody,
no.
all
Not breaking it down.
matter.
Not breaking it down like that. Of course, all lives matter.
Why is that hard to say?
Donald says, however, I have benefited from this handout and would not have survived. If not, I just didn't complain about the life I was living like it was someone else's fault. That's one thing, not victim mentality and blaming everyone else but yourself. But also, Donald, I would say that the point of these government programs that are there, they're there to help in times of need, not to become a way of life.
All black lives matter. Why their lives don't matter when they kill each other?
So that's a fair question. I have to be honest with. That is a problem in the black community.
Why don't you, if you people are so unhappy with America, and you call yourselves African American, mommy Africa, right? Why don't you go back to your country?
Well, first of all, because black folk are the owners of the whole planet, everywhere belongs to us. And you can't say because you criticize, that makes you the most patriotic, because you criticize so that America correct itself. I'm the most patriotic person you'll ever find because I want America to correct herself.
That's amazing. And correct.
Look at that smile she has after that. State Line, good point, man. Stop idolizing get-rich-quick culture. Learn how to earn a living, no different than following false profits when you glorify and idolize rappers, gangsters, drugs, and hustling. I agree.
Herself mean to do what?
Correct herself meaning to stop murdering us, to cease and desist killing us, cease and desist raping and robbing.
Blacks are the ones killing the most blacks.
Cease and desist the unjust.
That's just the factual information. The people that are murdering the most black people are actual black people.
Incarcerating of our people, cease and desist flooding our communities with drugs and alcohol, cease and desist poisoning our waters, cease and desist holding on to resources that never belonged to them in the first place and for benefiting from those things. Those are the things that I want them to do. And to, you know what? Show us the money. Show me the money.
See, I told you want money.
Yes, because it belongs to us.
There you go, begging for money. You want affirmative action?
Affirmative action was necessary.
We have given you people.
Who's we?
America. We have given you people. We gave you this. What?
We've given you people. Go ahead.
We gave you the civil rights movement. We allowed you to sit in white cafes, and we giving you the white. You say, "Oh, that's not enough. We want white. We want to go to school with the white people." And then you said, "I want to live in the white communities." And so we gave you the white community, even though you turned them into ghettos.
Gave the white woman.
We gave you white communities.
Did black people turn them into
ghettos? And then you said, "That's not enough. That's not enough. We want to go to the white school, but we are not smart enough. You have to lower the grades."
Did we turn them into the ghetto?
How much more do you want?
Did we turn them into the ghetto?
We even gave you the white woman.
Now we got us in trouble.
Yes.
The blacks start begging for the white women.
Why? What did we turn the neighborhoods into the ghetto?
The blacks do. Do you notice that most black people believe in social? So we gave them the schools, right?
Who is we, Mr. Peterson?
American people. We the
no,
American
but we.
Right.
American people.
What side are you on? Like
on the right side.
Right.
Right.
So when they were opposing black people for all these things, that was the side that was the right side?
Yes.
What did your black skin ever do to you?
So I'm not done with this yet. So we gave them the schools, right?
You are really amazing. Go ahead, sir. Go
Okay.
ahead. This is amazing.
Then we gave them the schools.
Amazing.
And then they said, well,
That's amazing.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, we want.
What the?
We want to go and live in their community. We don't like our black.
Donald in the chat says, I love Jesse and Jesse loves you, Donald. And so do we. We love you, Donald. Thank you for being part of the channel, bro.
Can I tell you?
And so we said, okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Y'all go live with the white people. That's fine, right? And then
We said.
And then they wanted to go into the. And then they said, we want reparations.
Hell yeah.
And they're like, we just gave you everything you want. What do you want? They said, we want food stamps. We want. How do you people ever plan to get ahead?
You people?
Meaning black people. How do
Okay,
you
us
ever,
people, you mean, because you black too.
How do you ever plan to get ahead in life?
You really said you
He
people.
said
you people. That's what he said. You people. Wait a minute. Us. Okay. All right. Us. Us people.
Damn, bro.
Well, good evening from London.
Damn, bro, that was good. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it a session, and I'll be back on again. I'm gonna go hit the gym. It's upper body day today. I'm gonna get some protein and go work out, and it's time to do that, dude. I gotta do that, and I'm gonna go do some work and make some clips and have some other things. And dude, we got a lot to do, man. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being with me on this session. It's Thursday morning. Tomorrow is Halloween, guys. Hope you're ready for that. Halloween's on a Friday. Wow. That's pretty cool. I like that. When's the last time Halloween's been on a Friday? I can't remember. Maybe it was just recently and I'm just tripping, bro. All good. Anyways, I'm going to go. Thank you guys so much. If you guys want to chat afterwards with our community, we have Discord. It's on my channel homepage. If you go to YouTube, you go to my YouTube channel, there's links. If you hit Discord, it'll take you there. State Line, just put the link to it in the chat. And we'll go, we talk there after the stream. We share information. We share funny things. We have a good time. If you have things you want me to share on my next live streams, you can go there and put them, and I'll take a look, and maybe we'll put those up. Anyway, guys, thank you again. Love you guys. All the newbies, welcome. Good to have you. You know what? I think I will try doing a horizontal stream next time, which I would love to do because it'll give me more space, more real estate to put these videos and all this different stuff, and I won't be crammed into a little space. So anyway, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bye, guys.